Friday Night Fever Week 8, I refuse to believe that. Hard to believe.
True.
Morgan Vance sick with high school football. Of course, you know John. I just love my job, Colette. The Americans have had many high-caliber teams over the years, but never had any group reeled off 11 consecutive wins without a loss until last night. So Scott Bigland's kids, they repeat as champs, though second place still up for grabs.
And you're absolutely right.
For a program that hadn't lost a basketball game in over a year, Thursday's state setback to the Franklin Quakers really threw the girls of Kamaikan for a loop. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, you don't look psychologically damaged at all. I know the boat took a beating, but
any way that I can.
Tebow, always a classy guy. Of course, if he's still single in the year 2029, I've already lined up my 3-year-old daughter.
Okay, so there you go.
It would be a good one. Definitely.
You wouldn't have to worry about it, would you?
No,
I wouldn't pay for the wedding, that's for sure. Just 26 hours prior to game time, Houston Lillard was nearly 2,700 miles away from the Toyota Center in Newark, New Jersey, of all places, to see his little brother get drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers at Thursday's NBA draft. Adam Shackelford told the Tri-Cities Herald that he wasn't nervous about his quarterback getting back in time for the start of tonight's game. Let's see if he did. Only two guys still on the roster, Mason Wilgosh and Adam Huseman, were in uniform to experience that iconic 7-game series. Welcome to a special springtime edition of Friday Night Fever. Morgan Vance, and he can bench press in excess of 95 pounds.
That's maxing. Just one rep,
John
though.
Collette.
We're
breaking ground here, a fever in May, but the big question tonight, what is it about Kamaikan, whether it's football, boys, girls, basketball, and now baseball, softball, you just know they're going to make a run at state. Will you talk to us again, Steve?
Absolutely, Morgan, as long as you call it a boat. I'm going to have to hurt you if you call it a car again. Do you guys mind if I take this guy out?
Here you go, one shot. Anyway, thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Pick out the best of the best.
Yeah, it's a nice flashback. You can slow things down and repeat them. And I know you were in house last week, but I could definitely feel a sense of urgency as the playoffs.
Sure, absolutely.
That's reflective in this Fever 5. And if you missed Sunday's barn burner at Brown Stadium, I'll run through the highlights. It won't take long. Stay with me now. It's one of perhaps the fastest growing sport in America, but there's one catch. No boys allowed. No, roller derby is all about the ladies, and I caught up with a local band who have embraced its rough and tumble nature.
We hit each other as hard as we can on the track.
Right here.
And love each other off the track.
It may look like chaos, but behind all these smacks and whistles is an organized and well-rehearsed machine.
That's the best part about it, is having different types of women and different strengths and all coming together to become this great team called the Atomic City Roller Girls.
But exactly who are these Atomic City Roller Girls?
I am a correctional officer.
Process expense reports all day.
Teach PE full-time. I work at a daycare in real life, so the aggression is just kind of an all-day thing for me.
And yet what they do during the day is simply to pay the bills, because what they truly live for is clocking out and immediately lacing up those helmets and skates.
So you've got work, you have stress of being a mom and a parent, and I mean it's a great release, and it is a little bit violent, but that's what's kind of fun about it.
The feeling you get the first time a girl hits you hard and you're just like, yeah, that felt good, and you're ready to get back. It's kind of like this game of cat and mouse, kind of like you win one, I win one.
Every skater has been given their own derby name, and every skater has their own identity.
My derby name is Kiss Fist.
Total Shakedown.
Durga.
Durga, just one word.
Yes, it's the Hindu goddess of war.
Durga recently moved here all the way from the state of Virginia, but she chose the Tri-Cities only after doing her homework first.
Because I wasn't going to move to a place that didn't have a good derby team.
A newbie to the sport might find the rules a bit confusing, but it basically boils down to this. Each team has a jammer.
And they make points through the track. So each person they pass on the opposing team, they get a point.
But what's most fascinating is that players don't leave. Once they start, they become hooked.
You just crave it, and then you get like addicted to it.
I have never played a team sport in my life, save for basketball in 4th grade. I never roller skated once until a year ago, and from day one I was sold.
Even if it hurts, you keep coming back.
But despite that physicality, the most endearing thing It's the bond that's created while in the eye of the beast.
And when you skate with people like that and you go through and you listen to each other, you know, you just start growing together, and, you know, just like a family, we're kind of very dysfunctional, but we all end up, you know, being, you know, together like a puzzle.
We learned a lot about conference standing this week under the lights, all the frills, chills, and thrills, what we call the Fever 5 Plays of the Week. The safety lick is the theme off the top. Hanford in it to win it with Kamiakin on Thursday. Jake Oram sending Tyler Merkel for a weekend trip to the chiropractor. More on this one in a bit. Richland calling in their own secondary to punish Ike during a big 4A battle at Fran Rish. Elijah Gardea utilizes some serious shoulder to pop cadet tailback Denzel Jones. Unfortunate soul. To Oregon at 3, Hermiston corner, Costa Rodriguez. He wins the jump ball with Pendleton's David Berdahl, but it was the Buckaroos with the last laugh, winning the conference title at the roundup. One-handed Holland by Torrey Eaton, finding himself in the clear. Go to Royal City at 2. The Knights locked in a tight one with Connell for the SCAC East Crown. Gorgeous thread through the window by Alex Myrick into the midst of Christian Guerrero, but it was the Eagles victorious. Tyson Brook, 1, 2, 3 stiff arms. That's just sick. And for our top play of the week, go back to Lamson. Falcon speedster Isaac Bernard caught in a mess of a pile, but he'll pop out of there like a kernel over the fire. The sophomore races 90 yards for the touchdown to tie it up at 14. There he goes again. Whoop! Kamiakin did end up winning that game 28-14. Right. They are 1 win shy of back-to-back undefeated.
You can tell that you shot that.
So let's recap. The Braves win by 14 within the confines of their living room, but the Orange Brigade responded with a 12-point victory inside the Lions' den. That January 28th loss continues to act as Kamiakin's only blemish of the season. And did I mention that Red jumped Rainier Beach for the top ranking in the entire state this week? I call them the sixth man. The Lions knew this place was going to be mad with disease. They're clever and loud. Winner takes the #1 seed into regionals next week. But before the highlights, Lions senior Johnny, Brandon Pokasongre's little sister suffers from a brain tumor. Both sides coming together to help her out. You got to love to see that.
Fans coming together.
Braves with a small lead after 1, but begin to break it open. Justin Pedley, prepare to see a lot of that today. Cans a rare 3, and how about a Fever 5 nominee? Whoop! Zach and Weezo head fake and bite. Braden Lighty sporting gray with a white collar tonight, though his boys trailed by 11 midway through. But Orange fires back in the 3rd. Reggie Clinton does that all the time over at Gold's Gym, but he did it in front of a standing room only crowd tonight. White responds. Pedley off the fade, only to watch in Weezo go daddy long arms for the tip. Then Javon Williams feeding Pedley 2 of his game-high 25, though Orange just keeps clawing into that lead. Clinton soda pops a deuce in the 4th. Then Devin Ramos strips in Weezo. Mad scramble and textbook break. Right back to Pokasongre. Kennewick trails by only a point at 47-46. But Pedley rallies the troops on a mini 6-0 run right here. Lions checkmate right back, though, going absolutely nowhere. Luis Santiago, goodness me, it's a 2-point game with 45 ticks left. They foul, and something goes terribly wrong here, Johnny. And Weezo about 1.5 miles off, maybe more. Braves still up 3, though. Lions going for the tie. Where Domash. That's 3 Domashes for every point scored as he buries the free throw big there. So bring out the tomahawk, tied at 58 with under 17 seconds to play, of course. Who else you going to go to?
Let's go Pedley,
who else?
Right?
Anybody but Pedley spins and foul. Watch it again and you make the call. I don't know, Johnny. It's close.
They don't pay me enough to make that decision.
No. Stripes made the call, though. So the senior with .2 on the clock, he was a subpar 4 of 11 at the line at that point, but he only needed 1 of the 2, and he sunk it. Wow, maybe the best prep basketball game I've ever seen. What's going through your head right now, Justin? You don't need to remind Cougar fans about the controversy surrounding the end of the '98 Rose Bowl. The guy who lived it, Ryan Leaf, his misfortune would only start there. And today, Wazoo's most famous athlete stopped in the Tri-Cities to sign his new book, a story centered on when times were good.
This book is a true labor of love for Cougar fans out there. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Whether it was the failure to meet expectation, the media outbursts, addiction to painkillers, or even disappointments at the pro level,
intercepted again.
Ryan Leaf has always found his peace here in Eastern Washington.
Other than Montana, my true home, you know, this is really the best place to be because these people accepted me when we were a struggling football team.
But by his junior year in Pullman, Leaf became a household name, and the Cougars were riding a national high.
The stories I hear are amazing, and they bring me back to a time when it was so innocent, and this book does that too.
The first book in a series of 2 others to follow, the title 596 Switch, refers to the final play Wazoo would have run had they been given the chance to upset Michigan.
Against the #1 defense in the country, with arguably the #1 offense in the country, 26-yard line, for all the marbles for the granddaddy of them all.
And though he looks back on that time with extreme fondness, Ryan admits to not holding anything back. In fact, he told me his biggest regret was not staying for his senior season, but that decision to leave early is now history. A second overall pick of the Chargers taken right behind Peyton Manning, the advent of the internet, and an almost suffocating amount of hype and anticipation, which all added up.
Maturing and being defensive in front of a national media when you're 21 years old in the NFL when you're not playing well was very difficult for me.
Leaf admits books 2 and 3 will be even more painful to write, but even 596 Switch has its moments.
This is me. This is unvarnished, you know, truth, and sometimes it's you know, difficult to read.
Though you wouldn't have known that today at Signs Now in Kennewick.
So much tribulation and stuff, but just get to meet someone like that and get to learn from their mistakes and from their successes as well.
I know he hasn't had the best professional career and that, but a Cougar is a Cougar, and I'm a Cougar fan.
A Cougar, always a Cougar. A motto representing pleasant memories that have never left.
The Apple Cup '97, when the whole Cougar Crimson was on that field celebrating for us going to the Rose Bowl. That will stick with me until the day I die.
We've got some time here to fill just you and me. I mean, this is riveting television right now. All right. The Dust Devils, they win 3-1 tonight over Salem Kaiser. They already had clinched a spot. I don't know. I mean, with icing on the cake. I mean, they take half number 2 as well.
Certainly a nice change from last year.
Good season for them, and they've been hitting terribly during the month of August. That's how good their pitching is. Christian Bergman and the crew, I mean, unbelievable, those guys.
The pitching's always been consistent, but this year especially, I mean, what they're doing is incredible.
Freddie Ocasio, Northwest League Manager of the Year for the job that he did. I mean, they were last place last year.
Hey, I'm thinking if they win the first half and the second half, why not take a bye all the way to the championship? I think we need a little
I know the AMs, they won a preseason game today in Everett, I believe 5-2 up there.
They play Portland again tomorrow.
Oh, do they? Their season is now underway officially. How much time do I have left? A minute? How did we do? I mean, we're filling time really well.
Let's just keep talking here. Hey, college football, don't forget a lot. So you're going to want to watch Action News tomorrow. I'll be there talking about Boise State, Oregon, the Cougs, Huskies. Everyone. I mean,
Kellen Moore, a senior. I mean, what is this guy going to do this year?
Come on, Mustangs.
I mean, is this the Heisman year?
It's got to be.
Little Boise State.
Why not? Prosser, bring it home, Prosser. Come on.
They're in Atlanta, Georgia, neutral site contest against the Bulldogs. I believe they're ranked, what, 19th in the country.
Top 25. Don't forget about
Boise
Oregon.
State, number 7. Oregon.
LSU, 3 and 4.
That could be the marquee contest on the entire D1 slate, correct?
I think so. I mean, we're going to have it all. You got to think either team who loses that game might be out of a BCS berth. So could have big implications there. But we're going to have it for you tomorrow.
Watch it tomorrow.
Tune in on Action News. I'll be here without this guy, so could be a good thing.
A little rusty today, no?
Did pretty well? Good. Felt good. It's good to have high school football back.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Friday Night Fever, we're done.
We made it.